So, good afternoon. We have Mayor Francis Suarez, the mayor of Miami, this afternoon. Mayor of Miami is a progressive leader with a respect for the power of technology and future plans to create a Miami Bitcoin hub, which is amazing. So, we're going to ask some questions about that. First question, Mayor, or thank you first and foremost for being on the show with me today. My first question for you would be, what is the goal for the future Bitcoin Hub and what impacts will it have on the community as an entirety? And is this an initiation to show all of the other states that Bitcoin has super benefits for the economy as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when you want to change your reputation overnight as a city, and you're trying to be a tech forward city, and you think about digital assets like a Bitcoin that have a decentralization component to it, that are not tethered to a central bank, and that have an opportunity to put Miami in the spotlight as being a very forward thinking and progressive technological city. For me, it was evident that this is one of the spaces that we wanted to be in. When I started looking around and doing investigations as to what states have the most crypto-friendly laws, I realized very quickly that it was Florida. I'm sorry, that it was Wyoming, and so we wanted to imitate Wyoming's laws in Florida. We didn't see why we wouldn't have equally favorable laws. And then at the city level, we wanted to make sure that we were talking the talk. So and walking the walk. So we're going to give our employees an opportunity to be paid in Bitcoin. We're going to give our employees an opportunity, our residents an opportunity to pay in Bitcoin. And lastly, we wanted to think about the possibility of investing in Bitcoin as an asset.
Nice. And so, what was your discussion like with Elon Musk? I know he's into the cryptocurrency space and he's a very progressive thinker as well as you are. In regards to Miami and bringing the underground tunnel, what was your discussion like with him? How exciting was that?
It was incredibly exciting to have 30 minutes to talk to what is essentially the wealthiest person in the world.
Yeah.
Uh, I was trying not to be nervous and trying to be normal, and I think I was fine with that. And we just talked about, tried to talk to him like I would talk to any other human being, and it was interesting. His perspective was interesting. I felt like his perspective is trying to create solutions, and he said it like this: that make people happy. He's like, look, I've got a couple. This is exactly what he goes. I've got a couple of bucks, which is an understatement of the century.
Yeah.
But but I think what he's trying to say is, look, I'm not doing this to make. I'm gonna have 180 billion dollars. I don't want to have necessarily 190, 192. I mean, what does that marginal $1 billion do for a guy who has that kind of money? What that person is driven by at this point is solving society's problems. The fact that it's monetizable is just part of the way our life works. But I don't think that for him that is a priority.
Right, awesome. And so how will Miami ensure that the people are educated and prepared for this Bitcoin hub? Will there be grants for tech companies to come on board and be available to train these people that are interested in becoming developers in technology? How will that work?
We one of the things that our commission did when they passed this legislation is they wanted to teach our employees in particular about cryptocurrencies, about blockchain, and about Bitcoin, and so that they can make an educated decision. So that is going to be part of our processes and educational process as well.
Awesome. And then what is the current education model in Miami in place for the youth to gain exposure to tech and prepare for competitive advantage in the future?
Our schools are doing a better job. I think we need to do a better job, continue to do a better job, and focus more on making sure that there's three things that all the children in our community that need broadband connection have it.
Hmm.
B, that all the children in our community have access to the same digital tools, right? I mean, my children are lucky; they have these tools that they can use and they can learn how to be functional with, which is going to help them in a modern day economy. And the third thing is we have to make sure that every child in the city of Miami has the right educational curriculum. We've got to be teaching them
Hmm.
robotics, coding, artificial intelligence, data analysis. I mean, those are the things that we have to focus on because those are the fields of study that are going to be high paying
Right.
and that are going to be the ones that are going to grow in the future.
Right. All right. And then, so with your understanding of the importance of innovation and technology, you seem to have a strong foundation in understanding that it's the future. Everything's going digital, like you mentioned. Your children already have devices, and that's a very important thing for the future. So, what sparked your interest to dive into the tech and financial tech space, like crypto?
Um, Look, it's something that we have been focusing on for 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
I'm 43,
Mhm.
so I think of myself as still a young mayor,
Yeah.
and we're the first generation that grew up with a personal computer.
Yeah.
So, we have cell phones now that are more powerful than the first rockets that sent people into the moon. You know what I mean? Into space. So, I think for me, it's evident that irrespective of what your political beliefs are, that tech is going to be a larger and larger part of our future. And so, the economy that revolves around tech, which makes every industry more efficient, is one that you have to focus on as a city. If you don't focus on that, you're just getting behind. And I think you're doing a disservice to the children of your community.
Right. So, what would you say to other states who are people and leaders and communities who want to get their state on board like you are? What was it like getting regulations passed, raising VC funding? How would someone get their initiation to help their governor, mayor, or someone in leadership role to do something like this?
I think the first thing you have to tell them is explain to them why it's important. I think the second thing is, as a leader, you have to really be focusing on generating high paying jobs in your community. And right now, tech is the industry that is doing that in the most abundance.
Mhm.
So, why wouldn't you want to attract an industry that is creating high paying jobs, that's changing the way that we live and the decisions that we make and improving our quality of life? Why wouldn't you want to bring that industry to your city? So that's the perspective that I would share with people who are thinking about this, or to leaders that maybe ask me for advice.
Nice. And so, you've got a position where you're a pretty good leader. I feel like you've been doing a lot of trailblazing as a government official. So that's really an ideal person who is a strong leader. What advice do you have for the youth looking to get into a political arena or a leadership role? How did you get your start into politics? You seem very passionate about it.
The first thing I would say is we need you. We need
Yeah.
good people. We need good young people. If you don't lead and if you don't get involved in politics, you are ceding your generation to another generation to make decisions for you. And if you think about what that means is, as you get older, you kind of lose a little bit of touch with what are the most modern things. And if you want those people who are a little out of touch to be making decisions, you're going to be stifling progress. And so I think it's important for young people to get involved in politics and to run for office, so that that natural progression of one generation takes over for another generation, takes over for another generation, it happens, and that will get you better government.
Nice. So, and then to lead on to that, how did you get your start into politics?
In my case, I was blessed because my father was also the mayor of Miami.
Oh,
So I was the
nice.
first father-son mayor in the history of the city.
Oh,
And so I got to see him working up close and personal. And that gave me an understanding of what the job was like. And in many ways, probably ingrained in me, the idea or the concept that service and being able to serve others is incredibly valuable, and incredibly something that gives you a lot of personal value. And so that to me was probably the most important lesson that I learned growing up.
all right. And then have you had any other government leaders to come to you to gain any insight pushing their states into the Bitcoin arena? Like you mentioned, Wyoming's been a kind of like the first state to get ready into this space, and then you're next, trailblazing. So have you had other government officials talk to you, like, what can we do to get on board?
Yeah, absolutely. I have, as a matter of fact. And I had the mayor of Jacksonville telling me he was closely looking at what I was doing.
Wow.
I had the mayor of Detroit telling me that he was closely looking at what we were doing. We had the mayor of Fort Lauderdale and of Boca that were also looking at some of the stuff that we're doing in Boring. So, I mean, it's really been refreshing to see mayors, friends of mine. I'm going to be the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors in January. Friends of mine who are looking for guidance from me on how to do some of these things.
Nice. All right. And then I know you're short on time, so I have a few questions from the audience. One question is, how will your crypto efforts help bridge together the wealth gaps in the city of Miami?
You know, uh, when I keep saying that the challenge of our generation is income inequality. It's a challenge that has gotten worse since the 1950s. And I think it's really a difficult problem to solve. If it were easy to solve, we would have solved it, and we wouldn't be talking about it.
Mhm.
So I think it's going to take the public sector without a doubt, but doing public-private partnerships, getting the philanthropic community involved, pushing people to be socially responsible, leading. It's going to take a comprehensive effort from the religious organizations, from everybody, to create a more equitable city, and that's what we want to do in the city of Miami.
Nice. And then another question from Chris C. Are you actively recruiting tech industry from San Francisco to Miami or other sectors as well?
Yes.
Mhm. Yes.
We are. We're actively trying to get the best and the brightest minds to our city. We want them to come to a place where we welcome them, where we're not going to tax them to death, where the city's going to be clean, and where we're gonna be compassionate, but in dealing with the homeless, and we're going to be low crime, and that's our brand.
Nice. Okay. Thank you, Mayor Francis. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that you guys are doing cool right now or looking forward to?
That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well.